Well, hello there, super friends, and welcome or welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana, and I am a healer, a channeler, a medium, also a mama, single mama, my choice, two beautiful children, a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I am a what I'll call semi-retired critical care nurse. My retirement is quite recent, and if you scroll back to some videos below, you'll hear me talking a little bit about that. But I am here in YouTube Landia to offer you a taste of what I do collectively, both for you here and also to give you a taste of what I do one-on-one with some of my clients. Today, I'm going to be tapping into, or I have already tapped into, and I will continue to tap into those of you who have been following me. Some of you know me very, very well, and that's why you're here. Some of you are just learning about this part of me, and I welcome you here. And I just invite you to stay long enough to get a flavor of what it is that I do. Today's topic is not small. I kind of had this feeling of really? Like, really? You really want me to go here? Okay. And I'm also going to share with you that I'm not entirely sure where it is that we are going to go. I am going to trust my guides. I'm going to trust your guides. I'm going to trust your energy and the energy of Spirit, divine, universe, God, goddess. You insert your word here for a higher power, even if that higher power is the highest version of yourself. And if you're not sure that you believe in anything outside of yourself, that's actually a good thing, because I believe that all of those entities, God, goddess, divine, spirit, mother, great father, great spirit, they all actually reside within us. So with no further ado, actually with one minor caveat before we begin, I just want to let you know that if you have arrived here, first of all, thank yourself for showing up. Second of all, know that whether you are listening to me in real time, in present time and space, or you are coming to this recording at some future date, know that when you receive it, it is exactly the right time for you. But also know that you get to be in choice. And for some of you, this message is going to resonate almost immediately, and you're going to know, yes, this is my message. And for others, it may take a few minutes for you to really lean in and feel where you fit into this message. And for others, it's going to be a hard no. And I want to let you know that that is exactly perfect. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind, and if this is not your message, that's okay. Trust that it's not your message. Don't try and make yourself fit, and leave it behind and come back and visit again, and maybe you will receive your exact message. I'm going to invite you to bear with me. I am new to this YouTubing thing, and so I have been playing with microphones and cameras and all sorts of setups to get this exactly right, and it is evolving. So I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you can hear me well. I hope that you can hear the music. My last recording, I had a surprise Spotify ad pop in, and it was quite disruptive, so disruptive that I had to scrap the whole reading. That will not be happening today because I double checked my Spotify Premium has been reactivated, and we should be all good. Okay, and so with no further ado, for real this time, I'm just going to close my eyes, and I'm going to see where it is we're going to go. So, while I was meditating on the collective, there were three themes that came through, and I'll try and share with you the way they came through so that you can understand what it is that I do and how it is that I work. But also, I share the method with you because I want to encourage you to find your own flavor of this work, to find your own flavor of the magic that interests you. I like to tell people that I am a guide, and my goal is to unlock your own connectivity, to unleash your own superpowers, which are not actually superpowers. They are all innate. I believe that anything that I do, that I can do, you can do also with your own flavor. I believe that we are born with this magic, and it is basically disciplined out of us, cultured out of us. And we are now in a place in time and circumstance and culture and the collapse of culture, as it may be, the collapse of Western civilization, perhaps the collapse of the whole planet Earth. We are now in a place where many of us are beginning to tap into our gifts, and we are, in fact, being invited more deeply into them. We are being invited more deeply into our own power, which is one of the themes that came through today. We are being invited to recognize where our freedom, our true freedom, occurs as we tap into our power. And we're also being invited into believing in miracles. So yes, not light work today for the light worker, for all of the light workers who are tuning in here, but this is where we're going to go. So the first image that came, and you will hear me mention her name probably often here, was the building imagery that Carolyn Meese so deliciously speaks of. So if you can imagine that you're in the midst of a city and you've been invited to visit a friend who lives in, let's say, in New York City, because I've lived there. You have been invited to New York City to visit your friend in his or her penthouse apartment. Now, I want you to imagine you are walking down the streets of New York. Let's imagine it's a summer day. I went to college in New York City, and I can tell you on a summer day, there are several things that you don't want to do, which is, the first of which is play the game, What's That Smell? If you've ever walked through New York City in the summer, even in the wee small hours of the morning, in the heat and the humidity, the trash, the garbage, the sidewalks, you don't want to play What's That Smell, but you can virtually play What's That Smell as you walk down the street, down and through the streets of New York toward your friend's apartment building. And I want you to just take a look before you go inside, before you step inside the building. I want you to look around at this virtual street. I want you to smell the trash. I want you to smell, maybe it rained last night, so you've got the petrichor going on. You've got that smell of heat and pavement and humidity and moisture. You've got trash. Somebody's smoking a cigarette somewhere. There's probably some street noise, like the seemingly perpetual honk of the taxis, no matter what time of day or night. There are always horns blaring. There's people shouting. There's just all sorts of noise happening just outside the door of your friend's high rise. Now this is sort of, if we're going to supplant this image onto our physical body, if we're going to supplant this image into our energetic body, this is sort of where we are at the root level of our being, at the collective, tribal, all the noise that we inherited from our families, all the noise that we inherit from the culture, all of the noise that we can't escape, the smells, the stinks. Now, there are also delicious smells that are here. It is not all bad here in the root. It is not all bad. It is New York City, after all. It is one of the greatest cities on earth. There are the smells of hot pretzels. There's the smell of the diner cooking their delightfully delicious French fries. There's H&H bagels. There's like all sorts of wonderful smells. There's the woman who walks by with her Chanel perfume. There's a lot of deliciousness to be had as well here at this tribal level, at this root level, at the lowest level of the building here before you go inside. And this is the place where we just have all of our stories. We have our collective stories. We have the stories we inherited from our families. We have the wounding that we inherited. This is where that lives. And this is sort of where we are, I feel like, on an evolutionary basis as well. This is where we are as a country. If you're listening to me from the United States, this is where we are in the Western world. We are at this place of like embodied all of it, the stink and the heat and the petrichor and the H&H bagels and the Chanel perfume and the flower stand and the deli with the deli guy who tells you he loves you. Like we're there. We're at the place of all of it. And at this level, you sort of see what you see, what you see. You see what's in front of you. You see what you can touch. You see what you can taste. You see what you can feel at the very basic level, right? You may not know that there is a river over there. You may not be able to tell that there's a whole other place across the river called New Jersey. You may not be able to tell on the other side that there's another river on the other side of you. You may not know any of this here at this level. You know the noise, you know the stinks, you know the delights, you know all that is happening at this ground floor level. And then you go inside. You go inside, let's say it's a beautiful doorman building, and you go inside and you see this gorgeous lobby. The doorman says hello inside the lobby. There's, this beautiful ornate lobby. There are people coming and going, and they also have good smells. Maybe they have bad smells. I don't know. You have your own visual of what's happening here at the ground floor level. At the level of embodiment of your history, your personal history, at the level of embodiment of what is tangible in your world. This is where what you know is right in front of you. And we don't yet actually have any perspective. I just had a cat jump in my lap. I'm going to throw him on the floor because I don't want him right now. So you walk into the lobby, you see what you see, and you get into the elevator and you go up to the tippy top floor. Now we're going to go on a quick elevator. We're going to ride the elevator up all the way to your BFF's penthouse, where the elevator's going to open right into his beautiful, glorious apartment. And the first thing you're going to notice when you get out from this elevator and into the space is the 360-degree view of the city below. So you're going to have your beautiful view. You're going to go right to the window. Yeah, we'll say hi to your friend, but right now you are just, oh my goddess, look at this place. And there's this element of awe and wonder at the sheer perspective you have from this view. Only a minute ago, you were down at the bottom of the building. You were down on the streets. There was noise. There was stink. There was action. It was just endless stuff coming at you, good, bad, or otherwise. There was endless stuff coming at you. And then you get into the elevator and you're all the way up here, and the view is glorious. 360-degree view of New York City. You can see the river, you can see Jersey, you can see for miles and miles and miles. And let's just say you step out onto the patio. Maybe it's a roof deck. There's her apartment, but there's a roof deck. And you step outside, and the first thing you notice is the quiet. Only a minute ago you were down below and the horns were endless, the action was endless, it was going and going and going and going and going. And up here, quiet. Almost silent. You can feel the wind on your face. You can hear almost the roar of the air, but there's no roar. It's just the density of the air feels like it creates a sound in your head, but the sound is different. It's not the sound 60 floors below on the ground where you didn't know there was a river, where you didn't know that there was this view. You didn't know, you couldn't see all that is truly possible up here from this place. And the contrast today is what I wanted to draw your attention to. Because when we're down on the lower levels, when we're down on the ground, when we are in the middle of the city, in the middle of the noise, it's really hard to know, do, see, feel, be anything except a part of the noise, except a part of all that's happening around you. But when you can get on the elevator and go all the way up to this place, to the penthouse apartment, you get to see the view, experience the expansiveness, feel the quiet, feel the possibility of all that exists outside and beyond what's at that ground level. And this is the place that I'm trying to bring all of us. But there's a cost, right? So at the ground level, those ground level apartments, the basement apartments, they're usually quite a bit less expensive than this friend's penthouse, right? As you go up and up and up in energetic possibility, as you go up and up and up this high-rise building, the cost of each apartment, each dwelling, each little mansion, for those of you know who Saint Teresa of Avila is, she speaks of mansions. And I just said mountain because that's also here. That's also it's the feeling is also the top of the mountain, which is one of the images I was shown earlier. But we're staying with this apartment building image because it's just so effective. As you go up and up and up, the real estate gets more expensive. And it also gets more and more exclusive, which bugs me. I'm not going to lie. I want to bring everyone up here to the penthouse. I want everyone to have this perspective. I want everyone I possibly can come into contact with. I want to bring everyone up here to see what's possible and to know that it's possible for you. But the only way we can get up here, and I'm hearing a miracle. Yes, for some of you it may take a miracle, but I believe in miracles, and I want you to believe in miracles too. For some of you it will take a miracle to get up here. But for others, sorry, I'm just listening. Yeah, what I just heard, why I paused was like, but what does it cost to stay down below? What does it cost? It feels like impossibly expensive to rise up. But what is it costing you to stay on the bottom levels of this apartment building? What is it costing you to stay on the street level? Yes, there is no end to the distraction, right? You can find a million and one things to do, a million and one places to place your attention that will keep you in this place and keep you from rising. And I feel like that is what the system, that is what we are taught to buy into. The system wants us to keep distracted, stay distracted down at these bottom levels so that we can't rise, because there's a belief in our system, in the system, that if we do rise, if one of us rises, it automatically means that it's not available for someone else. So the system believes, has deep buy-in into, if I rise, I have to keep everybody else below me, because if too many people rise, there won't be enough. There's that scarcity. There's that lack of abundance, the scarcity wound that our culture would have us believe. They want to keep us all at the bottom, struggling, distracted, like, ooh, something shiny, ooh, something stinky, ooh, something beautiful, ooh, 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 all the way down here at the bottom. The system doesn't want us to rise up. In fact, it wants us to believe that it's impossible. It wants us to believe that it's going to take a miracle to get to the top of this high-rise building where your friend now resides and has invited you to. And she's not inviting you, he's not inviting you for a little visit. You're being invited to stay here. And I can hear, like, oh, yeah, but what is that going to cost? Like, do I have to, like, align myself with this friend? Do I have to, am I going to have to put out? Like, am I going to have to work to be up here? And it's kind of a both and. You need to align yourself with not your friend, but the energy of the people who are up here. The people who are up here in this high-rise apartment are not the people in this particular building, are not the people who believe that the riffraff belongs below. Your friend in this penthouse apartment believes that you belong here too. And she really wants you to feel that sense of belonging in your bones. And it's not going to cost you money. It's not going to cost you jewels. It's not going to cost you blood. It's not going, well, actually, I was just corrected. It's going to cost you blood, but not the kind that you let from your own veins, the kind sometimes that you're related to. It may cost you in blood if you are no longer, what you need to do to rise to this penthouse apartment is to release your family or a family member or your family storyline. So in that instance, it may cost you blood. But what it takes, what it really, truly takes, what brought your friend up to this penthouse apartment was not wealth, not monetary wealth, though if that is something you desire, you can certainly have it up here. What brought your friend there, and the way that you're being invited to come up and stay, is actually through love, through the deepest, most profound, and most beautiful, most whole understanding of unconditional love. And for some of you, you're like, yeah, no, I have that. I can love unconditionally and I'm still here at the bottom. Or I've come up to mid-level and I will say that like I've been out on like the roof deck for quite a few years here. And I am now in the process of not just ascending the way I just brought you here for a visit, but I'm in the process of ascending and staying here in this new place. I feel like for me, my own personal journey, and I'm sharing this because I'm supposed to, but I'm sharing this because I want you to know that I didn't just land at the top of this penthouse and commit to staying. I go up and down the elevator all the time because I am human, and by the way, so are you, and it's all a part of the process. We are bodies and we are souls. And if you can imagine that our bodies are at the bottom of this apartment building and our souls are at the top, and we are being invited to come up and stay at that Soullular place in the Soullular penthouse. This is what we're being invited into. And the longer we stay on that ground floor level, distracted by the shiny things, by the stinky things, by the smelly things, whether they're your personal story, your personal history, your ancestral history, what's going on in the world right now, the longer we stay in the ground floors, the lower floors, the lower realms, the harder it is to come up and out. But you're being invited there. You're being invited to notice all the ways that you get to the top, you get the beautiful view, and then somehow really quickly ride the elevator down because you're like, oh, but I don't deserve to be here. She deserves to be up there. I'm a piece of shit. I lie. I don't get along with my mother. I yelled at my kids. I'm greedy. I'm whatever story you have that zoop, brings you right back down the elevator. You're being invited to notice when you drop back down, and then to remind yourself that where you belong is all the way up there. Because I'll tell you what, if you are here listening to this message, if you are here tuning into me, you probably already had some inkling of this. Maybe you're already practicing this, but you get caught in the down slope. You get caught in not the elevator going up. You're not thinking, oh, I'm so happy to be here. You are getting caught in the I don't belong here and I must punish myself or be punished by riding all the way back down or dropping, coming all the way back down hard. Maybe there's even a slam. This is where I belong. And I'm telling you, it is not where you belong. You belong. The world needs you. You need you. Your family needs you. Your ancestral lines moving backwards. Your family lines moving forward. Even if you are a lone ranger in this world, even if you are a lone wolf and you have no bloodlines, and even if you have no energetic lines, and I don't believe that that's anybody here, there are very few people here who have no one or nothing, whether they are chosen family or blood family. Any act of love, any act of service, any act of unconditional embracing of your whole self in all its imperfect perfection, each time you choose to love up on yourself, you ride that elevator up to the penthouse. The goal is to get you up here and keep you up here. To keep you up here at least with the perspective. At least so you can see that what you're being invited into for yourself is what's possible for the planet. And each little act of loving kindness, each little act of healing, each big grand act of healing will get you closer to coming up here and staying up here, staying up at this higher penthouse perspective, quiet, connected, soullular place. And so that next time when your humanity tugs on you and you drop back down, you don't have to drop all the way down to the ground floor. You can choose to visit. And in the tree of life, I feel like sometimes the ground floor, the root gets a bad rap. It's like, oh, it's darkness. It's shadow. It's the ugly stuff. But that's where the light comes in. That's where we know. That's where we understand. That's where the birther of the cosmos lived. It lived in darkness. We came from darkness. We're moving toward the light, and there's nothing wrong with coming all the way back down. And we're going to come back down. But the goal is that each time we come back down, we can recognize, oh, I'm back down here and I'm being invited to come all the way back up again. Or we come back down, but we land at that sun deck on the 32nd floor. We land, maybe we come back down further than the 32nd floor. We come back down to the 14th floor, or even the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor still has more awareness than that ground level. And when you go down to the ground level, I invite you into recognizing, oh yeah, here I am. I'm at the ground level in the stink, or I'm even further down. I'm in the basement apartment. I am under the earth. And let it be okay that you're there. Let there be learning there. Let's not stay there. And I'm just pausing. I'm pausing because I'm hearing victimhood. And this is one I will share with you that really only very recently did I fully process my own victimhood. I had to have a dark night of the soul in this deep, dark, shadowy place to recognize that sometimes it's the victimhood storyline that keeps us mired here. I am a victim of my family story. I am a victim of society. I am a victim of insert your poison here. It's only when we recognize that victimhood is useless. Victimhood serves to keep us down in the low parts. And that recognizing that you, on some level, are choosing to be a victim. And I know that this is hard, and I don't want to trigger anyone into believing the lie that if you were the victim of a violent crime, if you were the victim of abuse, if you are the victim of something horrific, because plenty of us are, I'm not going to bring you into a storyline of you chose that. We're just not going there today. So if this is you, let this be your trigger warning. Know that I have nothing but love for you. I am not speaking to you in this particular moment. My goal is not to trigger you. My goal is to speak to people like myself who held on to a victimhood energetic thread, a victimhood storyline somewhere in their being that kept them from getting to that penthouse apartment, that kept you from your highest unfolding, that kept you from your highest version of yourself. This idea that you must always succumb to the pattern that you've always been in. This idea that you will never have love. This idea that, oh, I'm such a good person. Why do all these things happen to me? Well, they happen to you so that you can heal and grow. They happen to you so that you can have your dark night of the soul and move away and understand that in choosing to be human, in choosing, when our souls chose to come into these bodies, into this timeline, me as the daughter of my mother and father, as the sister of my brother, as the mother of my children, when I, Dana Lynn Friedman, chose to come into my body, my soul chose the work that needed to be done in order to grow my soul into its highest unfolding, so that maybe in the next life I don't have to undergo this storyline. Maybe in the next lifetime I undergo some other storyline of healing. Maybe some darker, more wounded one. Maybe some more glorious one. Whatever it is, if we can get to the place where we can release our victimhood and understand and know at the core of our being that we are choosing to stay on the ground floor when our soul is inviting us all the way up to stay, it's in that moment that you get to stay a little bit longer. And it's in that moment, too, that when your elevator drops down, maybe you don't have to go so far down next time. Maybe you come to the roof deck, or maybe you're above the roof deck now, and maybe it only drops a floor before you remember, oh yeah, I'm not a victim anymore. I'm in choice, and I'm in my full power, and I'm choosing to come all the way up to the penthouse to stay, where it's quiet, where the sun is warmer, where the air is both thinner but more clarified, where you can feel the breeze, where you can know what's below, but you can stay here from this place and choose your next adventure, choose your next unfolding, make your next choice from this healed place, this place of greater perspective, this place of clarity and wisdom and knowingness. Knowingness that you don't have to go all the way down to the basement. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground floor. You don't have to get distracted by the noise. Maybe you're choosing that right now. Maybe you're choosing to be distracted because you're afraid of what's up here. Or you're afraid that you can't stay up here. You can't stay in this place. You know you want it. You know you want to come all the way up, but you're afraid that you're going to fuck it all up and you're going to come crashing down again. Well, that might be true. But know that each time you come crashing down, you don't have to crash so hard, you don't have to stay so long, and you can go right back up again because you know what it feels like to be up here. And you deserve to be up here. And in fact, the world needs you to stay up here, to stay in this place of unconditional love for your most human self, your most human traits, to love yourself even as you go crashing back to the first floor, and to love yourself even more to raise yourself back up to the penthouse. Know that you're being invited up, and you're being invited up to stay. I'm going to be quiet here for a moment to see if there's anything else that wants to happen here. Anything else that wants to come forward. Oh, yeah, I spoke of miracles. I said that I was going to talk about power and freedom, and both of those things happen at that penthouse level and on the way up. I feel like at some point I'm going to talk about the rising up in the Judaic tree of life as well, or the rising up into the chakras, or even the sacraments. I can speak to all of those places. Someday I'll be able to speak in the Muslim religion as well, but I'm not there yet. And so if this is you, please come teach me. Please come let me know how this relates to your practices so that I can embody those as well. But in the meantime, I know what I know, and it's what my ancestry here is, at least in this lifetime. The miracles. So this morning I was reading from the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. The Beloved Companion is one of the Gnostic Gospels. It is the story of Jesus, but it is the story of Jesus and it's believed to be told by Mary Magdalene, to be written by Mary Magdalene herself, the beloved companion of Jesus Christ. It also, for those of you who don't know this, reads nearly word for word with the Gospel of John, which scholars debate may or may not have been written by Mary Magdalene as well. And when you read the two side by side, it's difficult to ignore. But anyway, I was reading, and many of you know this story, and many of you know this story whether you had a Christian upbringing or not, just out in culture, out in the world. But I was reading the story from the Beloved Companion of Jesus's turning the water into wine. And you can believe what you believe. You can believe that it actually happened. You can believe that it's metaphor. I don't know. People in this time and space can bend spoons and can do all sorts of wonderful things. I have no reason to doubt that Jesus was able to turn the water vessels into wine in some way, shape, or form, whether it was with the power of his hands or the power of his heart. Somehow there was water and then there was wine. But what struck me and what I want to bring to you is that sometimes we doubt, like, well, I could never turn water into wine, so I'm not magical like that, so I might as well just stay at this lower earthly level. But this morning, what occurred to me, what came forward, and this was for me, but I'm bringing it to you because I'm just being told what to do. Jesus doesn't really tell anyone how he did it. What he says to the wedding party, what he says to Mariam, Mary Magdalene, his beloved, what he says to his disciples, who were, by the way, both men and women. We don't hear about the women. I'm going to tell you about the women. Is that he believes in spirit, and spirit knows that all things are possible. God knows that all things are possible, and he believes in God. Man believes that he has to be in control, that he is in control. And so long as man believes that he is in control, water can't turn into wine. But because Jesus believes in something bigger than his human self, because he believes in something bigger than just what his humanness can control, because he knows that if he can release his human capabilities and believe in spirit, he can bring the wine. He can turn the water into wine. And I feel like I'm not doing this justice, but what came forward for me was not about whether or not I could turn water into wine, but the idea that we can get to the top of the penthouse and stay if we can release what we believe are our own human limitations. If we believe we can't turn water into wine, then we're not going to be able to turn the water into wine. If we believe that we deserve to be on the ground floors only, and we are not able to produce, to work our way up to the top, to the penthouse, then we will stay at the water level. We will stay at those ground floor levels where we're distracted and busy and not paying attention to our higher unfolding, our highest self. But if we trust in spirit, if we trust that we can lean back, if we trust that we deserve to be up there, no matter how it is at these lower levels, no matter how ugly or how plain or how water when we're supposed to be serving wine it is, if we can let go of what we can do as humans and trust in the miracle, believe in the miracle of ascension, we can get to the penthouse and stay. And one last thing before I leave you. If you can imagine that penthouse apartment that's reaching for the sky is not necessarily reaching for that place called heaven that we were taught by our families, by our churches, by our synagogues, by our religion. We're not reaching to the sky. If you can take that penthouse apartment and bring it all the way into the center of your being, all the way into the center of your heart, bring it all the way in, and know that this is where your true heaven is. This is where your God, your godliness, your divinity, your spirit, your goddess, your highest self. This is its true home, all the way deep inside of you. And so when you're reaching for that penthouse apartment, when you're striving, or maybe just riding the elevator with ease, even better, to get toward heaven, what you're really doing is getting quieter and closer to your truest, wholest, most whole self. And I'm going to leave you here. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day or evening, wherever you are.